Hey guys, this is Izam and welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to create this blueberry pie artwork. This is done using a vector program called Affinity Designer, and I'm using my iPad to create this particular artwork. I am using the iPad Pro. If you're not using an iPad Pro, it doesn't matter as long as you can run Affinity Designer. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay guys, so today I'm going to show you how to create this blueberry pie, which I did. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. Okay, I'm just going to show you the highlights. Basically, I'm just going to show you how to create this particular weave pattern. That is the most important thing in this particular artwork. The rest of the artwork, I think you can manage on your own, right? So here's the breakdown. I'm going to show you how I did this. So let's take a look. The basic unit of pattern for this. Okay, let me just copy this. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it in this document here. Okay, and now I'm just going to open this layer up and you will see what this is all made of. Alright, this is the unit. Okay, I'm just going to copy this and then I'm going to paste it in a new vector layer and close all this. I'm going to paste this and then I'm going to okay, so this, take a look, this is the pattern. Alright, so how do I achieve this kind of pattern? It is through different layers. It's very basic. So I'm just going to hide this layer and this layer, and then I'm going to hide this layer, the shadow. So basically what you have is the bare bones, which is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I'm going to show you how I did it. Alright, so let's start by creating a new vector layer. If you haven't done so, let's do it now. And then use this rectangle tool, and then let's begin by drawing a rectangle like that. Okay, any size that you want, just as long as it's a rectangle. So from here, let's move this, okay, up there. So from here, let's create, we cannot make it into a gradient fill. It has to be solid. Alright, so let's change it to solid and let's make it something like this color of a pie, a baked pie. So it's going to look like yellowish, orangey, maybe light orangey. Okay, maybe something like this. This is fine, but make sure it is solid. So this is what you have, and then what we're going to do is duplicate this and then move it aside. Duplicate and then move it aside. So very important, you need to turn this on, the snapping. We have to turn this on because we have to make sure that this rectangle will snap to the next rectangle, because we need to have this space the exact same size as this. The only way and the easiest way is to duplicate and place it next to the original rectangle. Next, we're going to duplicate this and place it over here. And for this guy, we can delete. Okay? So now what we have is 1 and 2. Like this, 1 and 2. So the next thing that we're going to do is, again, we're going to duplicate, place it over here, but then we're going to turn this sideways. And what we're going to do now is make sure that this particular rectangle is, the size will fit this length 1, 2, 3. So make sure you snap like that. Okay, but as you can see, can you see that it's much longer, so we need to have another rectangle here to create an equidistant. Okay, so let's just put it over here. This is just a dummy, we're going to delete this later. This is just going to help us to extend the size of this to snap like that. And now we can delete this. Done. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this particular rectangle. So duplicate this, press 2 fingers on the screen and drag, release, and let go. Finish. That is all. So now we have an equal sides in size of a square here, here, and here. Everything is equidistant, and that is very, very crucial here. Now this is the basic unit of our weave pattern. Very, very important. So now that we have this, we're going to make a new layer, all right? And then make sure you make a new layer. This time we are going to make the shadow like this here. You see, for a weave there has to be a shadow like this over here and over here. So let's make that by creating a new vector layer over here. Alright, so what we're going to do is you can just duplicate this, okay, and just snap like that, resize it here to make it into a square, but resize it again just to make it something like this. Now then we will change the fill to a linear gradient. Change the linear gradient position like that. Alright, so for this color we are going to set 3 colors. So tap on the center color. So here all these needs to be in the same color. So get your color, get the recent color. For this, let's make it a dark one. Now you can choose any color that you want, but it has to be dark. Alright, this particular side over here also the same color, but you need to change it, the opacity to much lower, right down to 0, so that it fades away like that, like a shadow. And over here, this one, we don't have to, we set to the same color, but we don't have to set it to 0 opacity. It has to be 100%. Okay, that is done. So now we have a very nice gradient over here. You can change, you can move and slide this gradient over here, or you can actually delete. Let me see. Okay, I think this works really good. You can just delete, so it will just blend from one color to the next. Okay, so move tool is pressed. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to duplicate that, and then we're going to place this over here, 1 and 2. So now we will change, get your fill tool, and we're going to reverse the gradient like that, reverse it. So this is done. So have a look, what else do we need to do? So far we have done here and here. The next one we're going to do is here and here. The easiest, but let's just duplicate this too and place it over here, this one and this one. Alright, let's do that. So over here, just select both of this by doing this and slide. Next, duplicate. Okay, you see this is like that, so just tap and then just place it like that so that both are on top. Alright, so now let's make sure you tap on the move tool and bring it over here like that. So this is done, finished. So next what we're going to do is select this tool and duplicate, but this time we're going to rotate this like that, and then we're going to move it over here, snap. Okay, so the next one is, we got this, and we got this, right? You see it's like that, so just tap and then just bring it, both of them on top, and then just duplicate again like that, and then just move it on top so that they are both at the same side by side. Okay, then drag over here. Done. That's it. That is the unit. It is very easy, isn't it? So we're not done yet. Let's have some details on it, like what I've done for this particular thing, the unit. What I did was I did some lines, and I also did this. Okay, so let's do this so that our weave can pop up. Okay, it looks like 3D. So let's do that. This thing is actually a rectangle. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to have a new layer. Let's make a new layer. If you haven't done so, let's make a new layer. Oh, we already did a new layer. Okay, so this particular layer, let's make a rectangle. All right, just make a rectangle like that. And this time we have to change the fill to an elliptical one. Just move it over here, and let's do this. Okay, let's resize this like that. So it is very important that this particular color is set to opacity 0%. Okay, so that the gradient will just blend into nothingness. It's like a kind of like a shadow. So let's move this. Let's move this on top over here. Okay, something like that. And then we're going to duplicate that and then move it over here. For this, oh, okay, so for this case, I'm just going to drag it like that. And then I'm going to duplicate again and rotate. And I'm going to move it here, resize it so that it fits that particular side, and then just duplicate. Remember the easy way, 2 fingers on the screen and then drag and finish. So now let's add the details. For the details, let's have a new layer. If you haven't made it a new layer, just tap the plus sign and tap on the vector layer. So now what we're going to do is, I'm just going to minimize all this. I'm going to tap on this pencil tool. Okay, this pencil tool, and I'm just going to draw a line like that, haphazardly, like that, to create some kind of details. So that is done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all these, and then I'm going to change that, the width. You see the width? But I'm not just going to change the width, I'm going to also change the color. So to change the color, tap here. Make sure you tap on this ring over here, and I'm going to change the color maybe to this. This looks good. So, and then I'm going to change the stroke to something like this, maybe, and then I'll make it smaller, the width. Okay, and then set the opacity, maybe a much lower opacity, like that. All right, you can play around, you don't have to worry, just play around with it, and that's it. So now we have our basic unit. From here, it is very easy to do. So what we're going to do now, select all that layer that you just did. Okay, we just did this one. I'm going to hide all this. Okay, so now we only have this. This is our basic unit. What we're going to do is we are going to group it, and I'm just going to type basic unit, type OK, and that's it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use 2 fingers, and then we're going to make sure you tap on the move tool, 2 fingers, and drag, and use your 1 finger to move it. As you can see, let's see whether we place it correctly. Okay, I think we need to move a little bit. Okay, something like this. So notice that this is just a very nice seamless thing. Okay, you can go in deeper, zoom in to a much higher zoom and fix anything that is not aligned. All right, so that's it. So select both and use 2 fingers and then release 1 finger and just align it like that. Notice that there is no shadow over here. Again, this one is like that because we need to put it below. So what we're going to do is tap this and now drag to the bottom. So now you notice that the shadow is now can be seen. So now what we're going to do is select all of this and do the second step, which is to duplicate again. Over on this side, release 1 finger and let it go. Let's zoom in, use 1 finger. Oh, you see, the problem with this is like that. I'm going to, okay. Make sure that 1, 2, 3, 4, just tap, bring it down like that, so that you can see this shadow appearing. So now it's almost perfect. Okay, so let's select all of this, and again, this is the last bit. 2 fingers, drag, release 1 finger to constrain the movement, let go. See all these messy things, tap, drag it down so that they are all below. So now if you observe, it is all very nice. The shadows are where it should be. Perfect. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to select all of this and group it. And that's it. Just going to call it weave and tap OK. So now the fun part begins. We are going to have a new layer, a vector layer, and we're going to create an ellipse where we are going to mask this. So for this, we are going to set the color. Let's change the fill. Let's change it to a radial so that's easier. I think let's place this circle in line with our pattern, something like this, and maybe make it smaller, something like this, so that the weave will cover the whole circle. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we have to change the color of the circle. Because it is a blueberry pie, let's change the color fill. Let's change the middle color to a somewhat of a bluish purple color, something like that. And then we are going to change this color on the edges to a much darker blue or purple, but make sure that the opacity is set to the highest, 100. Finish. So let's go back to our layer. Now the magic begins. We're going to clip this, tap on this weave and place it in the middle of this layer, and there you have it. Alright, we are done. But how do I create this? Notice that what I have is the crust of the blueberry pie. We're going to do the crust. This is how we do it. Have another layer. Again, this time, instead of the circle or ellipse, we have a square star. This is so essential to do it. Change the color first, okay? Let's change it to a radial, but this time we're going to change to a crusty color. So the middle color, maybe we're going to make it, let me see, change it to this color. And then the edges, a lighter color, an orangey color. Alright, so I think this is fine for now. Tap on the square star tool and change the sides. Look at that. Okay, and then change the cutout to about here, 7%. We're going to move this, tap on the move tool, tap it over here. Okay, we can't see it, so we have to, what we're going to do is this. Make sure that the fill. Okay, let's tap on the fill, tap on the middle color, and then we're gonna change the opacity to the lowest so that we can see what's going on underneath. Alright, so now we can see this. Select your move tool and move this here, and then I'm just going to resize it. Okay, so here's the thing. We need to place it right, we need to align it properly like that. What you can do is tap here and tap here. Okay, select both of these, tap here, and then tap alignment options. Tap here, horizontally align and vertically align. We're done. So tap on the move tool. So just tap on this particular layer, just this, and now we're going to resize. Make sure you tap on about center and place one finger so that you can constrain, and that's it. Now let's play around with the fill tool so that we can have a very nice dark edge, and it makes it look 3D and coming out from the center. So what we're going to do is tap in the center. The center is crucial. It has to be opacity set to 0, but this here, over here, we have to tap here and move it to the edge, and it has to be a dark color to show that it's a shadow. So change this and maybe change to a dark color like this. Okay, and maybe set the opacity higher like that. And this slider over here, you can change and drag it further out to the edge, and then over here you can set the opacity much darker as you wish, something like this. Okay, so we have something like that. So this is basically almost done, right? So the next trick I'm going to tell you how to do is how to make the slice. Now that we have these two things over here, we are going to group them. Alright, and now we have this unit of the pie. We're going to have another layer, another vector layer, and now we're going to draw the ellipse, okay, over like that. Now drag this ellipse, make sure it's snapped right in the middle, align for both of this and this, the pie below. Now what we're going to do is change the fill. Okay, we're going to change the fill to a solid color. Okay, something like that, maybe white. But this time around, we're going to change this ellipse tool to a pie. Okay, let's test this. Okay, so this, what you can see is we already made it into a pie. We are going to mask this. Okay, here, like that. Voila, we have got a pie. But notice that this has an outline. We don't want that outline. What we're going to do is tap here and tap this. Nothing, okay, no stroke. So we have a nice clean pie. If you want to change that, the angle, just tap here, tap on your ellipse tool, start and begin angle. Okay, it's all up to you how big you want it to be. Now how do I create that slice of pie? So for that we have to duplicate this, and this time around we are going to flip the angle. Okay, take this and that, click here, tap here, you see this, invert angle. So now we have this slice. Just tap on your move tool, tap on this layer, and then you can now just move it out like that. So let's change the background color. So have another layer. Okay, drag this layer right to the bottom like that. Tap here and change it to a rectangle, and just tap and draw a rectangle like that. I'm going to change the color to a solid color, change it to maybe yellow. So now we see the problem. Okay, take a look at this. This particular circle is white. We don't want white, we don't want a color. Okay, so tap none. and that's it. The same goes with this. So here, tap here, make sure you change it to none. So now we have a very nice pie. Set the effects over here. Outer shadow, tap over here, set the radius like that, opacity. So zig is just over here. Okay? So basically not here, don't apply the effects here. Apply the effects here. Do not apply the effects over here, okay? Apply it here. Now we're going to copy that and we're going to apply it over here, this layer. So tap here and paste effects. We have this nice shadow. So that's basically how you do the blueberry pie and the nice weave pattern. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you can follow through, and if you can't, just remember you can rerun and practice again and again. So I hope you like this video. If you do like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to click on that subscribe button if you like what I'm doing. And because if you do subscribe, you can get notifications whenever I put up new videos on my channel. So until then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
All blueberry pie left untouched.